1. Hi, Danny. This is Natalise from Natalise the Sunset Run. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're a singer-songwriter.
I am.
Singer-songwriter. Where originally are you from?
I was born in San Francisco and grew up there. I'm a California girl through and through. Though I do live in LA now.
What type of music were you listening to at an early age?
Wow, I grew up with, my parents loved the Rolling Stones and Madonna and ABBA and the Bee Gees, and I kind of listened to everything just because my parents loved Queen. So it's sort of a bit eclectic, but of course, grew up in the pop era with, starting with like Janet, and kind of loved pop music. Anything with a really catchy melody. So loved me some boy band stuff. And and Britney definitely had a pop face for sure. But love the classics, and have been inspired by many kind of threads in music.
Right. When did songwriting start at an early age, or was it later on in your life?
Well, I started writing poetry when I was really young. I remember writing my first poem when I was 9 or 10. And I remember showing it to my teacher at the time. And he was like this really strict teacher, and I thought he didn't like me. but I remember he pulled me to the side and he said, he said, I want you to continue writing because you write like you're a lot older than you are. And I didn't know what he meant at the time. Really, but I think, as I've gotten older and I've looked at some of those poems, I was like, wow, like, I did sound old, kind of an old soul, I guess.
Right. So did you end up writing your own songs at any point in time?
I did, yeah. So, I think I wrote my first song, I think I was like 15, because I've played piano ever since I was 3. And so I was playing piano, and then I was like writing this poetry on the side, but I didn't put them together until, I was in my teens. And it kind of just, I guess I've been a romantic through and through. And so I remember writing this song. It was called I Just Want to Be With You. And it was supposed to be for the one, whoever that was going to be. And it ended up being a hidden track on my very, very first record.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what was that record called?
It was called Forever Now.
Forever Now. And was that just one record or an album? How did that go?
Yeah, it was an album. The single on it was called Love Goes On, which was the first track that I ever recorded. And I remember I was I was actually an intern for an independent record label, and I was just supposed to like run errands and stuff for them. But I remember meeting the CEO, and how I think when you're really young, you're kind of you're brazen, and you say things that you probably wouldn't say as an adult. But I said, I'm happy to do whatever you want me to do, run errands. I was like, but I want to sing. I just want to let you know that I'm here because I want to sing. And so the CEO was like, okay, whatever. But as time went on, he said, so I remember you said you want to sing. So, okay. I remember we were in a car running errands, and he said, okay, well, why don't you sing for me? And I said, right now? And he said, yeah. And so I started singing in the car, and he's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, you can sing, actually. And he's like, well, here's the thing. He's like, why don't I set you up with the producer I know, and I want you to write a song with him, and let's just see what happens. And if it comes out okay, then we'll kind of go from there. And so this first song that I wrote, he actually really liked it. He put it on a compilation record, and kind of played it for a friend of his who was a DJ on the air, on a local commercial it was a commercial radio station still on right now. It's called Wall 94.9 in San Francisco, and the DJ played it on the radio.
Right.
And it just kind of started from there, and then it kind of caught on and followed that up with with an album.
What album comes out next after that period?
So it was interesting because after I came to play, I took sort of not a hiatus because I was still writing a lot, but I started writing for other artists and traveling and trying to do the songwriting thing. I thought there's so much. See, the thing is, like, when you're an artist, right, there's an expectation that you belong to this certain genre.
Right.
And I think I really loved all different kinds of music, and I wanted to just write whatever I wanted to write. But I knew that I couldn't necessarily perform, those, every type of music. But I thought, well, other people can. And so that way I can write whatever I want to write and still have it have a home with someone else. And so I was at that time then traveling to Europe, London, Sweden, and writing and trying to pitch for other artists, up and coming artists.
Right.
And so I took that time and really kind of learned and tried to hone in on the craft of songwriting and tried to learn as much as I could from all the amazing people that I was able to work with. And when I finally kind of came back around to thinking about, well, what do I want to do as an artist? It was a few years later, and then it was at that time when I thought, don't get me wrong, I love to dance. Like, I physically love to dance, and I love the energy of dance music, but where my heart is just at the piano. And I thought, well, I'd like to just take a shot at that and see what that looks like and what that feels like.
Right.
And so the record, I released an EP a few years ago, which is Glimpses of the Sun. It's interesting because Glimpses of the Sun is a lyric from one of the songs on the record called The Lucky Ones. And The Lucky Ones was inspired by a few people in my life who were going through a really hard time. One of them was going through cancer, and it was sort of this idea of being grateful regardless of what's happening.
Yeah. And
sometimes, like, the most challenging things are the things that teach you the most. And so Glimpses of the Sun is sort of this idea that, no matter what you're going through, there's always sort of pockets, like little, it's like there's always like a silver lining. There's always the ray of light.
Right.
Even if it's slim, in everything, and it's like looking for that. So that's where Glimpses of the Sun came from. It came from that song.
The title, Natalise, is it plus the Sunset Run?
Yeah, Natalise and the Sunset Run.
Okay. And how did you come up with that?
So when I was traveling with songwriting, it can get kind of lonely. But my way of sort of like meditation was I ran a lot, literally, and my favorite time to run was during sunset. And it was like, for me, it was sort of like this. It was the one thing that was consistent, like no matter where you go, whether you're in New York or
every day
Sweden
the sun
or
is gonna
Tokyo,
set.
like there's always a sunset.
That's right.
And so it was just sort of this kind of maybe sentimental like icon or something that I held on to. See Me is a really special song to me.
See Me.
See Me is one of those songs where whenever I perform it, the room goes quiet.
Ooh.
Because it's really intimate, and I think that song really is just about having someone see you for who you are. And I wrote it at a time when I was in a relationship with someone who just didn't see me at all. And I was yearning so much for that, to be seen.
Right.
And I think everyone has gone through that. I think everyone kind of goes through a moment in their relationship, or is with someone who just doesn't necessarily, see you for everything you are. And I think that has resonated with people.
And so what are we expecting here? Any new releases possibly?
Well, so about a year ago, I released another EP, and still sort of kind of working that record a little bit, because I just had a video come out called "In the Fall," and so "In the Fall" is on this record.
Is that the Constellations album?
Constellations, yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice. And how many songs do you have on that? I've seen 5. How many do you have? Is it 5?
Yeah, it's an EP, so there's just 5 on that.
Okay. And where was that created? Where did you record that one? That album, Constellations?
I recorded it kind of through 2016, maybe, and released it early 2017. In
California, it was recorded?
Yes.
Great. And who did you have helping you on this project?
So the producers I worked with, it's AJ Ajax, and Karyati Suteja, and they're LA based as well. So it's been awesome kind of working with them, because I think sometimes when you work with producers, it's easy to be kind of overrun.
Right.
But they definitely allowed me to kind of do my thing. So secret shows are where I go to a private residence, and there's sort of a gathering of people, and it's really intimate, and we just, have a awesome show. So it's been really cool, because I get to meet people and really kind of get into the heart of, it's like just having a conversation like this, you know, but then I'm playing in between. So it's cool. I've enjoyed that a lot. What
are some of your goals in the future here, in the near future?
Right now I'm just sort of, I'm been so busy with a lot of kind of intersections of things. So where kind of music, I'm trying to figure out how to execute on all of my passion for music, but also use it for something for good.
Right.
And I've actually been working with a company where we actually help animals. So it's been sort of that's been taking a little bit of my time, but definitely still staying creative and kind of, just figuring out where I want to sit in the universe.
Would
you like? That makes sense.
Yes. Would you like to give them a shout out by chance?
Yeah. So if you want to check out our project, it's cuddly.com.
Cuddly.com. Where is that located?
In Southern California.
Southern California. So why don't you go ahead and give your website out so they can know how to get in contact with you?
Absolutely. So it's Natalise and the Sunset Run.com is where you can find my music, and you can follow me or friend me on social media at Natalise. Thank you so much, and thanks so much for having me.